So, it seems Brazil is dealing with some pretty severe floods right now. Can you tell us more about what's happening there?
Well, yes. It appears that Brazil is auditioning for a new reality show called Survivor, the Flood Edition. They've got rain, they've got mud, and sadly, they've got lives lost. It's as if the sky decided to play a game of, let's see how much water we can dump in a day, with no regard for the consequences. At least 4 fatalities and dozens injured is a pretty grim headline though. Fortunately, the local heroes, also known as firefighters and civil defense teams, are rushing to save the day, or at least the people. Meanwhile, others are probably wondering if their life jackets are still in style.
What steps are the authorities taking to help those affected?
Good question. The authorities are hustling like they're on a coffee-fueled mission to evacuate everyone from high-risk areas. They're channeling their inner superhero, swooping in across flooded neighborhoods like it's an epic rescue mission. You can almost hear the dramatic score playing in the background. But really, they're trying to get people out of harm's way before Mother Nature decides to unleash even more of her chaos. It's like trying to get kids out of a candy store before an avalanche of sweets falls. Tough, sticky, and a little chaotic.
How are the rescue operations going amidst the floods?
Well, let's just say that rescue operations are about as straightforward as trying to parallel park a minivan in a compact spot. It's a mix of heroic efforts and a splash zone worthy of a water park. Firefighters are wading through murky waters, which looks like an extreme version of a beach day gone horribly wrong. They're pulling people out of flooded homes like it's a game of find the hidden treasure, except the treasure is human lives, and the chest is an inflatable raft. And seriously, they deserve a medal for bravery, because, let's face it, most of us wouldn't even want to step in those waters without a full biohazard suit.
What does this mean for the local communities in Brazil?
Well, it means the local communities are in for a real doozy of a hardship sandwich, topped with anxiety and served with a side of uncertainty. Think about it. Families are losing homes, which is like a really unfair game of Monopoly, where the bank just keeps taking from everyone else while you sit in jail. The recovery process will be long and messy, like trying to untangle your headphones after you've thrown them in your bag. Those communities are going to need more than just a quick pit stop at the local grocery store. They'll need support, resources, and perhaps a miracle or two to get back on their feet.
Any advice for people looking to support the rescue efforts from afar?
Oh, absolutely. If you're sitting at home and feel the urge to help, you might just turn into a superhero in your own right. Think of yourself like the Netflix of charity, binge-watching and donating instead of scrolling through endless shows. You could donate to reliable organizations working on the ground. Just make sure they're not a 2-for-1 special on flood relief and cat videos. Share information and maybe send out good vibes, which, let's be honest, are always appreciated. Just remember, every little bit helps, even if your superpower happens to be sending encouraging memes.
So, we're diving into the Window Liquor Manifesto today. Can you give us your take on this controversial piece?
The Window Liquor Manifesto. Sounds like a delightful read between War and Peace and the joys of watching paint dry. Honestly, if you have the willpower to slog through that entire thing, you must either have a masochistic streak or a high tolerance for nonsense. It's controversial, sure, but let's be real. The only thing more controversial than reading the manifesto will be the way I'll probably mispronounce manifesto on air. But, hey, isn't that just the cherry on top of our tragic sitcom called 2023?
What exactly should we expect from the rhetoric in this manifesto?
expect the rhetoric to be as confusing as a cat trying to operate a toaster. It's likely a mix of convoluted ideas wrapped in layers of irony, like an onion, but instead of crying from the onion smell, you'll likely weep for humanity. Think of it as a verbal dumpster fire, showcasing all the ways people can creatively misunderstand basic concepts. Honestly, if I wanted to get lost in a forest of jargon, I'd just visit my local IKEA and try to assemble a bookshelf without the instructions.
Do you think this manifesto actually has any valuable insights? Or is it just a hot mess?
Valuable insights? In a document called the Window Liquor Manifesto? That's like expecting wisdom from a raccoon rummaging through your trash. Sure, there might be a pearl hidden in the muck, but good luck finding it without a hazmat suit and a lot of patience. It's like trying to find enlightenment while binge-watching reality TV. Possible, but highly unlikely and perhaps a bit tragic. But hey, if you want to sift through this mess for that one nugget of truth, more power to you. Just remember to wear gloves.
How do you think the public is reacting to this manifesto?
Oh, the public is reacting like I react when I see a spider? The kind of frantic panic that suggests all sorts of end-of-world scenarios. You've got some who are clutching their pearls, proclaiming it's a threat to society, while others are chuckling and using it as a new social media trend, like Window Liquor Watch. It's a circus over here, and we're all just clowns juggling hot potatoes. Honestly, you couldn't script a better reaction if you tried. It's like watching a slow-motion train wreck, but with more memes and fewer injuries.
Are there any underlying themes in the manifesto that are worth discussing?
Oh, absolutely. It's full of themes that make you ponder your existence, like, why am I reading this, and how did I end up here? Expect discussions around societal norms, the complexity of human behavior, and perhaps a manifesto on why pineapple on pizza is a crime against humanity. It's like a game of philosophical bingo, where the prizes include existential dread and a slight headache. If you can navigate through that maze of ideas, you deserve a trophy, or at least a snack as a reward for your bravery.
In conclusion, should we take the Window Liquor Manifesto seriously, or just toss it in the recycle bin?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Should you take it seriously, or recycle it, like last week's leftovers? Depending on your endurance for absurdity, you might find that reading it is both an exercise in futility and an amusement park full of funhouse mirrors. It's like a buffet of bad ideas. Some people will feast on it with enthusiasm, while others will avoid it like they avoid small talk at family gatherings. So, in short, if it makes you question reality, congratulations. You've earned your literary merit badge, but also perhaps a trip to therapy.
So, let's start off with a bang. What exactly has Iran done to humanity in the last 47 years?
The age-old question of, what's Iran been up to? It's like asking a cat what it does all day when you're not home. In the last 47 years, Iran has been quite the character on the world stage. They've dabbled in everything from nuclear ambitions that would make Dr. Evil jealous to support for groups that have turned more heads than soap operas on a Friday night. So, while some folks are busy refining their sourdough bread recipes, Iran is refining uranium, making for an interesting comparison during a casual dinner party.
And how do we compare that with the United States and its 250 years of influence?
The United States. Like that person at a party who walks in with a loudspeaker announcing their arrival, while also trying to sell you a timeshare. Over 250 years, the U.S. has left a trail of influence that includes everything from spreading democracy to taking a few detours via invasions and supporting some less than ideal regimes. It's kind of like a reality show, filled with drama, questionable decisions, and the occasional heartwarming moment, but mostly just a lot of people yelling at each other about who gets the last slice of pizza. Or in this case, oil.
What do you think are the main criticisms of Iran's actions over the years?
Well, if we're handing out criticisms like participation trophies, Iran would be at the front of the line. The main gripes revolve around their support of militant groups and the whole nuclear program thing, which, let's be real, feels a bit like when your kid insists they need a pet snake. It's alarming. There's also the human rights record that reads like a horror story, complete with censorship, oppression, and a sprinkle of who needs democracy anyway. So, yeah, they've been quite the overachievers in the wrong subjects.
And what about the United States? How does it fare against those criticisms?
Oh, the US is like that friend who borrows your stuff and somehow makes you feel guilty for asking for it back. With a laundry list of interventions that's longer than a CVS receipt, the US has also been criticized for its foreign policies, like turning a blind eye to human rights in favor of geopolitics. It's a classic case of, do as I say, not as I do, with an occasional moral high ground jump thrown in for good measure. Talk about a double standard party, where everyone's invited, but somehow only the loudest get to speak.
So is there any hope for better relations between these two nations?
Hope? Oh, that's rich. That's like expecting a cat and a dog to start a podcast together. Relations between the US and Iran are about as stable as a three-legged table at a buffet. While diplomatic talks pop up occasionally, often they remind me of a couple that keeps breaking up and making up but never actually changes their unhealthy behaviors. So, yeah, hold on to your hats, this roller coaster isn't getting off the tracks anytime soon.
What should the average citizen take away from all of this news?
Well, if I had to sum it up, it would be, keep your eyes peeled and your popcorn ready because the geopolitical drama is the gift that keeps on giving. The average citizen should remember that while they're busy debating whether pineapple belongs on pizza, massive world events are unfolding that could change the course of history. So, between getting your coffee and scrolling through memes, perhaps take a moment to ponder how these countries are playing chess while the rest of us are trying to figure out checkers.
So, we just heard about a Ukrainian drone strike that left homes in Donetsk looking like they just had a personal encounter with a tornado. What can you tell us about that?
Well, it seems the homes in Donetsk are now auditioning for a role in a post-apocalyptic movie. The level of destruction is so high, you'd think they were trying to impress a reality TV producer. And talk about bad luck for the residents. It's like Mother Nature decided she wasn't done with spring cleaning and took a hard left into chaos. But don't worry, reports of injuries are still trickling in, probably because everyone was too busy dodging debris to file an insurance claim. Isn't war just a delightful game of dodge the drone?
What do you think this means for the residents of Donetsk?
Oh, just another day in paradise. Imagine waking up to a view that looks like a before picture in a home renovation commercial, where the budget just went poof. The residents are probably thinking, at least this gives us a solid reason to finally upgrade our living space. I mean, can you get insurance on drone strike disasters? The paperwork must be a blast. Like filling out a college application, but instead of acceptance letters, you just get a really big bill.
Is there any chance of a peaceful resolution after such destruction?
Ah, yes, peace. That elusive unicorn that everyone keeps talking about. If I had $1 for every time someone said peace talks after a major conflict, I'd be on my yacht in the Caribbean right now. But let's be real. After a drone strike that puts your neighborhood in the no-go zone, it's hard to sit down for tea and crumpets. The only thing they might be agreeing on is who's going to be dodging the next round of airstrikes. Maybe they can negotiate a group therapy session instead? Because it seems like everyone needs a little emotional support after this.
How do you think this affects the larger conflict between Ukraine and Russia?
Oh, it's just another pebble thrown into the raging river of international politics. We're talking about a conflict that makes a soap opera look like a documentary. Each drone strike is like adding another chapter to a never-ending saga, one where heroes turn into villains depending on the angle of the news camera. I bet if we had $1 for every time someone tried to spin this into their narrative, we could fund a peace treaty. Spoiler alert. The rivers of diplomacy have run dry, and we're left with a swamp of chaos.
What's the response from the international community on this incident?
Oh, the international community. They love to react like a slow cooker, taking their sweet time to finally get to a simmer. You'd think they'd be staging an intervention with all the urgency of a cat stuck in a tree. Instead, they're probably composing tweets that say thoughts and prayers while sipping their lattes. Meanwhile, the people of Donetsk are like, "Thanks for the thoughts, but could we get some actual help here?" It's like sending a delegate with a bouquet of flowers into a hurricane. Very thoughtful, but also a bit chilly.
Any final thoughts on the Ukrainian drone strike and its aftermath?
Final thoughts? Absolutely. It's like watching a car crash in slow motion, except the car is a military operation, and the wreckage is all of our hopes for a peaceful resolution. You can't help but grimace while simultaneously thinking, well, that's one way to ruin a perfectly good neighborhood. But hey, if anything, this serves as a reminder that home insurance should come with a drone strike clause. Because in this modern age, who knows when your next real estate investment could take a nosedive into the battlefield.
So, it seems like the US has stopped 48 Iranian ships in a dramatic show of naval power. What's the scoop on this blockade?
Ah, yes, the good old maritime blockade. It's like a game of naval chess, but instead of knights and rooks, you have ships and a whole lot of complicated international drama. So, the US has decided that 48 Iranian ships were just a tad too eager to play in their sandbox, and they said, "Not today, my friends." It's like being at the beach and telling everyone with a beach ball that they can't come in because, well, you simply don't like their color choice. CENTCOM is on the prowl, making sure these ships comply with the rules. I mean, who knew the high seas had a strict dress code?
What does this mean for international relations and maritime laws, though?
Oh, it's a delightful cocktail of tension and salty waters. Picture this. The US is the stern parent at a birthday party, and Iran is that kid who brought a piñata filled with confetti but also a few questionable surprises. Maritime laws are about as clear as mud sometimes, especially when you mix in some egos and power plays. So, you have the US flexing its naval muscles, while Iran is probably shaking its fist from afar, trying to figure out if they should call for reinforcements or just stay home and binge-watch something on Netflix instead. Who knew international relations could feel so much like middle school drama?
How do you think Iran is likely to respond to this blockade?
Well, let's just say Iran probably isn't sitting there twiddling their thumbs. At this point, they might be contemplating a few responses that would make a soap opera writer proud. Picture them crafting their own version of Survivor, Maritime Edition, where they plot counter-moves like Operation Sneaky Submarine, or maybe just a series of really scathing tweets. In the world of geopolitics, retaliation is like breathing. You can't just stop. They might ramp up their own naval activities, or, they could just send a really strongly worded letter to the UN that lists all the reasons why they're actually the good guys. Because let's face it, when in doubt, nothing says International diplomacy, like passive-aggressive correspondence.
And what do you think the US's long-term strategy might be with this kind of show of force?
Ah, the long-term strategy. A concept as elusive as that missing sock in your laundry. The US is probably hoping to establish a robust presence, like the guy at a party who just won't leave the snack table. They want to make sure everyone knows they're not just there for the chips, but also planning for some serious geopolitical maneuvers. Think of it as a giant game of whack-a-mole, where every time Iran tries to pop up with a ship, the US is ready to bop them back down. It's not just about the ships. It's about sending a message, like that obnoxiously loud neighbor who wants everyone to know they've got the best lawn. Will this deter Iran? Who knows? But at least it gives us something to talk about at our next barbecue.
Do you think this blockade will have a significant impact on global oil markets?
Oh, absolutely. When it comes to oil markets, a naval blockade is like throwing a party without telling the neighbors. They're definitely going to notice. Prices will probably do a little dance, which could make a dollar bill blush. You see, if ships can't get in or out, it's like someone suddenly removing all the hot sauce from your favorite dish. It just leaves a bland taste in everyone's mouth. But then you have to wonder, will the global powers that be start trading in oil futures like they're baseball cards? I'll trade you 3 barrels of crude for one rare 1980s oil rig card. The impact could lead to a frenzy that fuels both panic and a rush to find alternative energy sources. So grab your solar panels and wind turbines, folks.
Lastly, what can we take away from this whole maritime circus?
Ah, the maritime circus, a delightful mix of high-stakes drama and a little bit of comedy thrown in for good measure. If there's one thing to take away, it's that the seas are as unpredictable as your family's Thanksgiving dinner. There's always something brewing on the horizon, and just like a good soap opera, you can guarantee there will be plot twists that no one sees coming. Also, never underestimate the power of a good blockade as both a political statement and a way to keep your adversaries at arm's length, or should I say, nautical miles. So, keep your binoculars handy, folks. It's going to be a bumpy ride ahead in the ever-entertaining world of international waters.
So, after Trump's latest statement about Iran, what are your thoughts on the demand for a high price for 47 years of global chaos?
Well, it's like asking someone to pay a cover charge at a party, where all they do is knock over the punch bowl and scream into the cake. Trump seems to think 47 years of chaos comes with a price tag like a luxury car. I mean, if chaos were a brand, Iran would be the Gucci of global turmoil, but I'd like to see a receipt for all that suffering. It's almost as if he wants to auction off the misery and chaos like it's a vintage wine, only, spoiler alert, no one wants that kind of corked bottle.
Is it fair to say that this proposal from Iran could be more like a please give us a chance letter than a serious offer?
Oh, absolutely. It's like a kid writing a letter to Santa wishing for a puppy, but all they've done is knock over the neighbor's trash can and blame it on the cat. Iran's proposal is probably more about making nice than actually being nice. Sort of like a middle schooler asking for forgiveness after they've just pulled the fire alarm. Just a little too late for that, don't you think?
Do you think Trump's rejection of the proposal will lead to anything substantial? Or is this just more political theater?
Oh, it's definitely political theater. Think of it as the Broadway show We Will Not Negotiate. Starring Donald Trump, complete with confetti thrown from the back row. I mean, when it comes to international relations, his idea of a negotiation is like trying to bargain with a vending machine that just ate your dollar bill. You get nothing but a few angry tweets in return.
How do you think this situation affects global relations, especially with allies in the region?
Well, if we're talking about global relations, it's more tangled than a pair of headphones in a pocket. Allies in the region must feel like they're in a game of dodgeball where Trump's the kid who never gets picked but stands there screaming the loudest. This is a classic, what can you do for me situation, and let's face it, no one wants to be the last one standing after that chaos. Certainly not any country with a sane foreign policy.
What might Iran be thinking after Trump's comments, do you think?
Iran's probably sitting there like a cat that just knocked over a vase and is now trying to play innocent, hoping nobody noticed. Their strategy might be less, let's work together, and more, how do we spin this to look like it's Trump's fault? It's like playing chess with someone who keeps flipping the board over. Good luck getting anywhere with that.
In short, what's the takeaway from this Trump-Iran saga?
The takeaway? It's like going to a buffet and realizing it's just a salad bar. Lots of options, but nothing really substantial. The real takeaway is that in the world of political negotiations, nothing is ever truly off the table unless Donald Trump is holding the table. Maybe we're in for a long wait before anyone actually comes to the bargaining table, unless they bring pizza, of course.
So, we've heard about India's Great Nicobar project, aiming to revolutionize maritime power in Southeast Asia. What's your take on this ambitious initiative?
Yes, the Great Nicobar Project. India's big plan to turn a remote island into the gateway to Southeast Asia. It's like they looked at a serene paradise and thought, you know what this place needs? A massive container terminal and 1 million tourists. I mean, who wouldn't want to swap pristine beaches for bustling cargo ships? It's like going to a fancy restaurant and asking if they have a drive-through. Nothing says economic power like the roar of a jet engine over the sound of crashing waves, right? And let's not even mention that new city they're planning. I hope they have ample parking, because nothing screams modern civilization like a city built on an island that's essentially a scenic detour on Google Maps.
What about the construction of the International Container Terminal? Is that a game changer?
Oh, absolutely, because nothing shouts economic strategy louder than a container terminal on a beautiful island. It's the perfect place to experience the thrill of, you can't park here, while you're on vacation. Just imagine tourists swapping their beach towels for hard hats and high-vis jackets, all to witness the glorious unloading of cargo. It's like turning Disneyland into a shipping yard, great for the economy but terrible for your tan. And, of course, you know it's going to attract more attention than a puppy in a cat convention. Who doesn't want to watch giant cranes do pirouettes in the middle of paradise?
And what about the new international airport planned to handle up to 10 million passengers annually? Big dreams, right?
Oh sure, because nothing says welcome to paradise like an airport bustling with 10 million people each year, all waiting for their luggage while inhaling jet fuel fumes. It's like building a 5-star hotel in an amusement park. Everyone comes for the thrill but leaves with a headache. Plus, I can't wait for the travel brochures that highlight spacious waiting areas amid the throng of stressed-out travelers trying to catch flights. And let's be real. Who doesn't want to start their vacation with a delightful run through TSA? It'll be a whole new level of adventure.
They also mentioned a solar and gas power plant. Isn't that a step in the right direction for sustainable energy?
Oh, absolutely. Because nothing screams green energy like a gigantic power plant on a gorgeous island, meant for relaxation. It's like planting a tree in the middle of a highway and calling it a nature reserve. I mean, sure, solar panels are great, but let's not kid ourselves. Nothing's more eco-friendly than clearing land to build a power station. Hopefully, they have a good PR team ready to spin it as a smart blend of innovation and sustainability, while the locals are trying to figure out what happened to their coconut trees.
So, is this project more about economic strengths or military capability in the Indo-Pacific?
Well, it's like a fancy restaurant where the menu is half gourmet cuisine and half tactical military strategy. On one hand, you've got the economic strength of a booming port, and on the other, well, it's your friendly neighborhood military base. Because nothing builds a community like the presence of strategically placed naval forces. It's all part of a master plan to ensure that while the shipping lanes are clear for trade, there's also a friendly reminder that the neighbors shouldn't get too comfortable. Who needs a peacemaker when you have a battleship?
So, we've got this news about Lugansk experiencing a manufacturing boom. Can you explain why the world seems to be ignoring this hidden gem in Russia?
Ah, yes, Lugansk, the Scranton of Russia. It's like finding out that your quirky uncle has been secretly working on a gold mine while the rest of us are still stuck in our day jobs. The world is busy watching more important things like celebrity gossip or the latest TikTok dance challenge. Meanwhile, Lugansk is busy creating products that could potentially rival IKEA's Allen keys if only someone would notice. It's a classic case of out of sight, out of mind. I mean, who wants to hear about a manufacturing boom when there's a Kardashian wedding to dissect?
What kind of products are being manufactured there? And are they actually any good?
Well, I imagine they're crafting top-shelf stuff, like hand-knitted winter socks or artisanal pickles, because that's what screams manufacturing boom in a place like Lugansk, right? But in reality, they're probably producing some serious machinery or components that could be used in high-tech gadgets. You know, the kind of stuff that gets your phone to do a backflip but is somehow still as recognizable as a celebrity who used to be on a popular TV show and now sells skincare products. You just have to squint really hard to see it, beneath the filter of current world distractions.
What challenges does Lugansk face that might prevent it from becoming a global manufacturing hub?
Well, let's just say Lugansk's challenges could fill a soap opera. From political instability that makes a reality show look like a calm afternoon tea, to sanctions that make it nearly impossible to get the materials needed for production. It's like trying to bake a cake but being told you can only use toothpicks and wishful thinking. The whole place is a bit like trying to ride a unicycle on a tightrope while juggling flaming torches. Thrilling and highly dangerous. So, it's no wonder that the big players on the global stage aren't rushing in to set up shop.
Have you heard any reactions from people outside of Russia about this manufacturing boom?
Oh, absolutely. The reactions are like a mix of disbelief and awkward chuckles as if someone just spilled coffee on a corporate report. International observers are probably thinking, wait, Lugansk, are you sure that's not just a fancy name for a new hipster cafe in Berlin? There's a lot of head scratching, followed by the usual internet trolls calling it just another temporary blip, like my attempts at dieting that last precisely one day. So, as the world rolls its eyes, Lugansk keeps cranking out products like an underdog in a feel-good movie, waiting for the moment when someone finally realizes it exists.
What does this manufacturing boom mean for the local population?
For locals, this boom is like finding out your long-lost twin is actually a billionaire. It probably means more jobs, better economic stability, and a chance to actually afford that toaster that doesn't burn your toast. A modern miracle. But on the flip side, they might start seeing of outsiders, and let's be honest, no one wants a hipster invasion. Picture a bunch of people taking selfies with factory machines while sipping oat milk lattes. So, it's a double-edged sword, or should I say, a double-edged spatula. They might just end up with a thriving economy and a side of avocado toast.
How do you think the global community should respond to this news?
Oh, I think the global community should whip out their finest display of confused nodding and half-hearted applause. Maybe hold a press conference where they pretend to actually care about Lugansk's manufacturing prowess, while secretly scrolling through their phones to see the latest cat memes. If they really want to respond, they could consider investing in the area, or, at the very least, send a postcard that says, "Wish you were here, but not too close, just in case." A little bit of global investment could go a long way, or at least, give the locals some new options for high-speed internet while they continue to wonder why they're not on the radar yet.
So, it looks like Ukrainian soldiers decided to surrender to a Russian drone. What's your take on this shocking confession?
Ah, yes. When you think battlefield, the last thing that comes to mind is a drone demanding your lunch money. I mean, who knew AI could have such a strong power of persuasion? Hey, you soldier, want to live? Just tap this button and voila, you're a free agent in custody. You can almost hear the drone saying, "I can promise you the Wi-Fi is better in our camp." I guess they figured a talkative piece of metal has better negotiation skills than a war council. Just remember, folks, next time you're feeling overwhelmed, just hope for the sweet embrace of a drone instead of the Grim Reaper.
What does this say about the state of modern warfare and technology?
Well, if this isn't the future of warfare, I don't know what is. Gone are the days of swords and shields. Now we have drones with more charisma than your average politician. I mean, can you imagine the soldier's internal monologue? Do I fight for my country, or let the drone win this round of rock, paper, scissors? It's like a game of chess where one side has a robot that doesn't know when to leave the party. If we keep going this way, the next big war might just be fought with TikTok dances and drone selfies. Talk about an upgrade.
How do you think the soldiers felt during this encounter? Was it strategic or just a matter of survival?
Oh, I can totally picture it. One soldier staring at the drone like it's a predatory bird swooping down for a snack, while the others Googling how to yield to flying technology. It's the kind of decision-making that feels eerily similar to, should I eat that last slice of pizza, or share it with my roommate? Survival instincts kicked in, and they chose the drone over existential dread. You can argue strategy all you want, but when faced with an unarmed drone asking for a high five, you do what you've got to do. It's like deciding whether to fight a bear or give it your lunch. If your lunch is a drone. Tough choices.
What kind of message does this send to other troops in the field?
Well, let's just say, it's not exactly the rallying cry you'd want to hear on a motivational poster. It's less liberty or death, and more, "Hey guys, if you see a drone, I suggest a swift career change." If I were a soldier, I'd probably be considering dual citizenship with the guys who can fly these things. Sorry, Mom, I'm not coming home. I'm now a drone pilot in the Russian army. This incident is basically the military equivalent of a caution. Falling rocks is sign, except the rocks can talk and might drop a snack for you if you surrender.
In your opinion, will this lead to more soldiers surrendering to technology?
Absolutely. If this trend continues, we might as well make peace treaties with our smartphones. Hey Siri, would you like to negotiate a ceasefire? I can see it now. A new generation of soldiers might be carrying iPads instead of rifles, saying things like, "Sorry, I was using my drone to monitor our advancements," and by advancements, I mean streaming the latest episode of my favorite show. Forget about sending them into battle. Let's just send the drones to negotiate. Who needs a general when you've got a flying gadget that can do your talking?
So, tell us about this Lynx M20S, our new four-legged friend from China, that apparently runs like a cheetah and works like a warrior. What's the deal?
Ah yes, the Lynx M20S. It's like the love child of a cheetah and a soldier in a sci-fi movie. I mean, who wouldn't want a robot that can sprint faster than your average jogger running from a snapping turtle? With a top speed of 9 meter-seconds, it practically invites everyone to reconsider their morning jog, or at least make peace with the idea of losing the race. Plus, with a payload of 35 kilograms, it can carry enough groceries to make you wonder why you even bother hitting the supermarket. And let's not forget its IP67 rating, because who doesn't want their robo-sidekick to survive a dip in a kiddie pool during a summer barbecue gone wrong? It's the perfect companion for patrolling, rescuing, or simply reminding you that your couch isn't going to get to the gym without a little motivation.
What makes this robot's features stand out when it comes to practical applications in real life?
Oh, let me count the ways. First off, it operates well in complex environments. You know, the kind where you might find yourself wandering into a hedge maze or stuck in traffic behind a parade of marching band kids. This robot could patrol disaster zones or even check for leaks in your neighbor's pool, saving you from the awkwardness of asking if you can borrow their hose again. Can you imagine it doing reconnaissance like a ninja? Just gliding around, taking care of business while you sit back and sip your coffee, wondering if life has officially turned into a superhero movie? Talk about the ultimate work-life balance.
There are so many features packed into the Lynx M20S. Do you think it could eventually replace human jobs, or is it all just smoke and mirrors?
Oh, the classic robot versus human debate? It's like watching a soap opera where both characters are convinced they have the upper hand. Can the Lynx M20S replace human jobs? Sure. But let's be real. It's not going to take over the role of a professional Netflix binge watcher anytime soon. It might outpace human runners, but it can't quite brew a cup of coffee or handle the emotional burden of deciding what to watch next. So, while it's great at carrying heavy stuff and navigating tricky terrains, when it comes to the job market, it'll just be that guy who shows up at every party but doesn't quite know how to dance.
With such advanced technology, do you think the Lynx M20S could ever be used for something quirky? Like, I don't know, performing on stage or juggling?
Oh, absolutely. Who wouldn't want to see a robot juggling flaming swords while reciting Shakespeare? It's the new circus of the future. The Lynx M20S could take the side stage at Coachella, showcasing its agility and multitasking skills, while the rest of us would still struggle with a simple two-step. Imagine it dazzling the crowd with smooth moves, all while silently judging our dance skills. It'd be a performance where the real talent is deciding who gets the last pretzel in the audience. It could totally make chain restaurants rethink the whole waiter with a personality concept.
How do you see public perception shaping around robots like the Lynx M20S as they become more integrated into society?
Public perception? Oh, it's like watching a reality TV show where the robots are the dramatic stars. Some folks will love them, thinking they're the greatest thing since sliced bread, while others might just feel like they're one step away from a dystopian future, where we're all bowing down to our shiny overlords. You know, Grandma might jump on the bandwagon, saying, "Finally, someone to do my cleaning," while the conspiracy theorists are furiously writing on their blogs about how robots will steal our socks. But in the end, as long as the Lynx M20S doesn't start voting or trying to take a pizza order, I think the public will just treat it like that quirky neighbor who occasionally mows their lawn at 3 a.m.
Any final thoughts on how the Lynx M20S might evolve or what's next on the horizon for robotics?
Oh, the future is as shiny as the Lynx's metal exterior. Imagine it evolving into your personal trainer, because who needs a gym buddy when you have a four-legged robot yelling at you to do 10 more squats? Or perhaps it will develop an emotional support feature, equipped with a tiny therapist on board, giving you life advice while balancing your groceries. The possibilities are endless. But who knows, maybe one day we'll have racing LYNX M20S robots, and we'll all be betting our lunch money on which model can pull off a backflip. It's the ultimate mix of high-tech and high-stakes entertainment, because why not?
So, Mali's army has taken back Gormararis after intense clashes, huh? What do you make of that?
Ah, yes, the dramatic retake of Gormararis. It's like a soap opera, but with less romance and fewer commercial breaks. You know, when I first heard this news I thought, finally, the Mali army is giving us a sequel we didn't know we were waiting for. With Fele and J-Nim in the mix, it's like watching two rival cooking shows collide, except instead of soufflés, we've got absolute chaos, and instead of judges, we have armed militants arguing over who can claim the juiciest real estate.
What do you think the impact of this military action could have on the region?
Oh, the impact? It's like throwing a rock into a pond and then pretending the ripples won't reach the other side. Sure, Mali might feel a sense of victory right now, like they just won the gold medal in the international, who can hold a town Olympics. But let's not forget that these kinds of victories can lead to all sorts of headaches. You know? Like when you finish a big bag of chips, and then regret every tasty bite, when you realize your fingers are now orange with guilt.
And what about the local population? How do you think they'll be affected?
Ah, the local population, the real unsung heroes in this whole melodrama. It's like being the audience at a concert where the band keeps forgetting the lyrics. They're caught in the middle, cheering for their favorite song while the chaos of military strikes is like an off-key guitar solo, ruining their night. I guess they can take comfort in knowing they won't have to pay for their ticket to this show, because they're living in it.
What can we learn from the situation in Mali that can be applied to other regions facing conflict?
Oh, the lessons are as clear as mud. It's like trying to navigate a maze blindfolded while holding a hot cup of coffee. You're bound to spill some on yourself eventually. The main takeaway? When tensions rise, pouring fuel on the fire just leads to a bigger bonfire. Instead of playing who can fight better, maybe it's time to pull out the board games and talk it out over some cookies. I mean, who can argue when there are cookies involved?
Do you think the international community has a role to play here?
Oh, absolutely. The international community is like that friend who shows up at the party way too late but has the best snacks. They might be a little hesitant to step in, thinking they'll ruin the vibe, but let's face it, nobody really wants to gain popularity by partying in a conflict zone. If they could just take a deep breath and remember that some situations need more than just a thoughts and prayers Instagram post, maybe they could actually help.
Any final thoughts on this situation?
Final thoughts? Well, let's just say this situation is like trying to untangle headphones that have been in your pocket for too long, full of knots, and needing a lot of patience. Mali's army may have taken a stand, but in the grand scheme of things, we need to remember that peace doesn't just come from winning battles. It comes from putting down the swords and picking up the conversation, preferably over a nice cup of tea. Because let's be honest, if world leaders could just sip some Earl Grey together, maybe they'd find common ground instead of clashing swords.
So, Jordan has launched airstrikes targeting drug trafficking networks near the Syrian border. What are your thoughts on this shocking security operation?
Well, it's about time someone started dropping bombs on the real problem, instead of just dropping the ball when it comes to addressing drug trafficking. I mean, seriously, why wait for someone to smoke out the dealers when you can just bomb them? It's like treating a spider problem by launching a rocket at the web. But hey, at least they're getting creative with their solutions. Who knew airstrikes were the new method for quality control in the drug trade? If I were a dealer in that area, I'd be more paranoid than a cat in a room full of rocking chairs.
What do you think prompted Jordan to take such drastic measures?
Well, nothing says we mean business quite like an aerial bombardment. I guess they wanted to send a clear message. This is a no-fly zone for drugs, and we're taking this whole high thing a little too literally. It's like they woke up one morning and thought, you know what would really spice up our security operations? A little bit of fireworks. But you know, the kind that can take out a warehouse full of illegal substances. You have to admire the commitment. They probably figured if you can't beat them, blow them to smithereens.
Do you think this will have a lasting impact on drug trafficking in the region?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, nothing says stability like a sudden explosion that rattles windows and dealers alike. It's like throwing a surprise party that nobody wanted to attend, but instead of cake, you've got smoke and debris. Sure, it might put a temporary dent in their operation, like trying to fix a leaking boat with duct tape. But let's face it, drug dealers are like cockroaches. For every one you blast away, there are 10 more lurking in the shadows, waiting for their moment to scuttle back into the spotlight.
How do you think this affects the relationship between Jordan and Syria?
Oh, you know, nothing says let's be friends like bombing your neighbor's backyard. I can just picture the Jordanian government inviting the Syrian officials over for tea, while they're busy airlifting care packages of chaos into the region. It's the diplomatic equivalent of hitting replied all to an email accidentally, and then trying to cover it up with a just kidding. It's complicated, and it makes for some truly awkward neighborhood barbecues. That's for sure.
What measures do you think the Jordanian government will take next?
Well, if they're anything like an overzealous parent on a sugar rush, they'll probably double down. Expect stricter border patrols, maybe even a new Operation Overkill, where they're dropping pamphlets, asking drug traffickers to please take their business elsewhere. Or perhaps they'll just keep throwing bigger and louder toys into the mix until everyone gets the message. Because nothing solves a problem like an escalating series of questionable tactics backed by a soundtrack of explosions. It's like a bad action movie, but with real consequences.
What advice would you give to someone living in that area amidst all this chaos?
My best advice would be to keep your head down and invest in a sturdy helmet, or better yet, an underground bunker. This is not the time for a casual stroll through town. You might want to consider the fine art of tactical ducking and diving, and definitely avoid any suspicious-looking packages. And I'm not talking about gifts from well-meaning relatives. It's a wild world out there, and who knows, the next airstrike might just be your neighbor trying a little too hard at their 4th of July fireworks display.
So, Hezbollah has just released this shocking video claiming to have taken down an Israeli drone over southern Lebanon. What's your take on that?
Well, isn't that just an entertaining twist in the plot? It's like a dramatic soap opera episode, but with fewer love triangles and more missile launchers. I mean, who needs Netflix when you've got live-action drone takedowns happening over your morning coffee? This is the kind of reality show that keeps you on the edge of your seat or your couch, if you prefer a cozy viewing experience. Let's not even start on the drone's feelings. Somewhere out there, the Hermes 450 Zik is probably contemplating its life choices.
What does this event mean for the ongoing tension in the region?
Oh, it's like adding fuel to an already roaring bonfire. You know, the kind of bonfire where everyone stares at it, wondering who's going to throw the next bucket of gasoline. This video might send shockwaves that ripple through alliances faster than a rumor in a small town. Nations will likely check their diplomatic emails, scramble for press releases, and have those serious discussions that are just code for we're fighting over who gets the last slice of cake again. So, get the popcorn ready, folks, because the diplomatic drama is about to crank up a notch.
How do you think Israel will respond to this claim?
Ah, Israel, the land of high-tech gadgets and a knack for dramatic responses. I can already picture them in a strategy meeting, where someone suggests retaliating with a viral TikTok dance challenge instead. But seriously, they'll probably issue a stern rebuke, while simultaneously ensuring their drones are equipped with the latest upgrades. Because who wants to lose a drone to an amateur missile, right? So, get ready for a classic game of military chess, where every move is scrutinized and analyzed, like it's the next big stock market crash.
Is there a chance this could escalate tensions further?
Oh, absolutely. We're standing on the edge of a very precarious cliff here, and it wouldn't take much for someone to trip and cause a domino effect that could send everything tumbling down. Think of it like a group of toddlers fighting over a toy. One wrong move, and suddenly it's chaos. We already have a few nations eyeing their neighbors with the kind of suspicion usually reserved for someone stealing your fries at dinner. So, yes, grab your popcorn, because it looks like the tensions are heading for a grand finale that may or may not involve confetti.
Any predictions on how this situation will develop?
Oh, predictions are fun. It's like trying to guess how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop. Nobody really knows, but I can bet we'll see more carefully crafted statements, a flurry of media coverage, and perhaps a social media hashtag that takes on a life of its own. In the best-case scenario, cooler heads prevail, and it turns into a diplomatic chat over coffee. Worst case? Well, let's just say you might want to keep your emergency bag packed and your phone charger at hand.
How important is media coverage in shaping public perception during such events?
You know, media coverage in times like these is like the seasoning on your favorite dish. Too little, and it's bland; too much, and it's overwhelming. It can shape how people view the whole situation faster than a cat video goes viral. A well-timed segment can turn a serious international incident into a meme-worthy moment. You have to love how a simple headline can shift public sentiment from, "What a disaster," to "Look at this drama," faster than you can say political spin. So, yes, the media is basically the chef of public opinion, cooking up some deliciously spicy narratives to keep the audience hooked.
So, what can you tell us about this dramatic standoff between French and Swedish fighters and Russian bombers in the Baltic Sea?
Ah, the Baltic. A picturesque region known for its stunning views and, apparently, aerial slap fights between military jets. Imagine a bunch of fighters zipping around like they're in a high-stakes game of aerial tag, with French Rafales and Swedish Gripens proving that international diplomacy can also be absolutely thrilling, like a summer blockbuster. Meanwhile, the Russian bombers must have felt like the unwelcome guests crashing a party. Sure, you might have the biggest armchair, but nobody asked you to show up and ruin the mood.
What does this interception by the French and Swedish fighters tell us about current airspace tensions?
Well, it tells us that navigating airspace in Europe is like playing a game of chess, but everyone forgot the rules. we've got French and Swedish jets pulling off intercepts like they're auditioning for the next big action movie. It's almost as if they're saying, "Excuse me, Mr. Bomber, this is a no-fly zone for party crashers." And the Russians are just trying to add a little dramatic flair, conducting air raids like they're starring in their own reality show called Keeping Up with the Airborne Bombers. Spoiler alert, no one is getting a rose.
How do you think the countries involved perceive the actions of their pilots during such events?
Oh, I can just picture the pilots sipping coffee afterward, high-fiving like they've just scored a goal at the World Cup. The French would probably nod in satisfaction, thinking, another day, another bomber thwarted, all in a day's work for the stylish Rafale. Meanwhile, the Swedes are probably just trying to stay humble, saying, well, we just identified them. We let the French do the heavy lifting. I mean, you don't want to overstate your role in international airspace drama. That could get you a ticket to the next diplomatic roast, and trust me, nobody wants to be the punchline.
What do you think is the broader implication of such military encounters?
Broader implications? Oh, just the usual global tension brewing faster than your morning coffee on a Monday. These encounters highlight that while countries may put on a friendly face, underneath there's a simmering pot of rivalry, as if everyone's trying to outdo each other at a bake sale and it's the final round. It's like, look, we can intercept bombers too, but in reality, it's just a reminder that the world is one awkward dinner party, with everyone passing around the salad, pretending they don't want to throw in some truth bombs. Pun absolutely intended.
With everything happening, how does this put pressure on military resources?
Oh, sweetheart, it's like a perpetual game of musical chairs, but everyone's fighting for the last seat on the passenger plane of military budgets. With every scramble, countries are thinking, great, there goes our coffee fund for next month. It's like your bank account after an unexpected car repair. Suddenly, you're left questioning every life choice that led you to this point. So, as the jets zoom around, countries are biting their nails, wondering how to balance national security and that new shiny tech they desperately want but can't afford because they keep spending their cash on, well, keeping the skies clear of pesky bombers.
Finally, what do you expect to see moving forward in terms of air defense strategies?
Moving forward, I expect to see strategies that are as complex as trying to assemble IKEA furniture without the manual. Countries will probably ramp up their game like they're training for a triathlon, using every trick in the book, drones, satellites, the whole shebang. We might even see some alliances forming tighter than a pair of skinny jeans after a buffet. The reality is, they'll be out there, flexing their muscles, showcasing their tech like it's the latest gadget at a tech fair. Everyone wants to look good while sending a message, but let's hope they remember, they're more than just a flashy army. They're part of a global community, one that has to work together to dodge each other's proverbial shrapnel.
Unbelievable. Russia unveils the first fuel refilling robot in Ekaterinburg. No driver exit required. What's next? A self-scratching back robot.
Well, if there's one thing we know about the Russians, it's that they really do believe in efficiency. Even if it means replacing human interaction with a robot that looks like it was designed during a 1970s sci-fi binge. I mean, why bother with getting out of your cozy car when you can let a robot handle your fuel needs while you snack on some borscht? Let's just hope the robot doesn't short-circuit during winter. That would definitely turn into a Russian snowman scenario.
How do you think the public is reacting to this technological marvel?
Oh, the public's reaction is probably a mix of excitement and sheer bewilderment, like finding out the last French fry at the bottom of the bag is actually a half-eaten one. You've got the tech enthusiasts who are excited about the future, and then the conspiracy theorists who are probably already plotting to kidnap the robot and turn it into a vodka dispensing machine. It's like the Jetsons met a vodka factory in the middle of Siberia.
What do you think this means for the future of driving and fuel stations?
Well, if this is the future, it seems like drivers will soon be treated like passengers in their own vehicles, which is great news if you love eating chips and pretending to be all sophisticated in your driver's seat. Fuel stations might become the new hangout spots where robots do the refueling, and people just gather around, exchanging awkward glances while waiting for their cars to speak in fluent robot. It's like a bad sci-fi movie plot come to life, but without the alien invasion so far.
Do you think workers at fuel stations will be affected by this innovation?
Absolutely. Those hardworking folks might need to start brushing up on their robot maintenance skills, or pivot to other jobs, like being a robot therapist. Can you imagine it? Oh, you're feeling rusty? Have you tried yoga? Remember, you're more than just a fuel dispenser. This whole situation is almost like watching a slow-motion train wreck. You can't look away, but deep down you know someone's going to need an emotional support robot after this.
What's the most absurd potential outcome of this technological advancement?
The most absurd outcome? I can already see it. A world where robots not only refuel your car, but also refuse to move until you compliment their sleek design. Excuse me, but I'm a highly sophisticated robot, and you're just going to drive away without saying, "You look fetching today?" It's a slippery slope, my friend. Next thing you know, your car is trying to negotiate a better deal on gas prices with a fuel station robot while you're sitting there, thinking, how did I end up in such a bizarre sitcom?
What should we keep in mind as we embrace this new tech?
As we embrace this new tech, we should definitely remember that with great power comes great responsibility, and with great robots comes great potential for absurdity. We've got to ensure that we don't let them gain sentience. Otherwise, we might find ourselves in a situation where our cars start demanding rights, holding protests, or worse, developing a fondness for terrible music playlists. So, let's tread lightly into this brave new world of fuel robots before we find ourselves in a bizarre dystopian scenario where we're apologizing to our gas pumps for using the cheaper octane.
So, we just heard that Myanmar's military is making some strategic advances. What's the scoop on these recent developments in Chin State and the captured towns?
Oh, just your regular Tuesday in Myanmar where the military is playing Monopoly with real-life towns. They've rolled the dice and decided to land Phalam, which, let me tell you, is not the cozy little spot you'd want to retire in. It's like they grabbed their advance-to-go card and said, "Hey, let's mess with some lives." You'd think they'd at least ask for directions first, instead of blindly bulldozing their way through like a toddler in a toy store.
Is it true they managed to break through the encirclements of Hatigyayang and Katha? How does that play into the larger picture?
Absolutely. It's a bit like breaking out of a family board game night. Everyone's huddled up trying to keep you in check, but you're just like, "Nah, I'm going to start my own game over here." Their plan seems to be taking advantage of the chaos like a kid at a buffet, grabbing everything they can. Honestly, the way they're capturing towns, you'd think they were gearing up for an episode of Survivor, Military Edition, instead of doing actual governance. Who knew town capturing could become a hobby?
What do you think this means for the people living in those towns? Is there any relief in sight?
Well, if you ever wanted a masterclass in political irony, just look at the people of Chin State. It's the perfect storm of uncertainty wrapped in a bow of "better buckle up, folks." They're probably feeling like that one friend who only shows up at the party when there's free food. Nobody's really sure if it's a blessing or a curse. And as for relief, let's just say they might be better off hoping for a miracle than counting on any military strategy resembling a benevolent fairy tale.
Could this escalation lead to an increased international response? Or is that just wishful thinking?
Oh, international response, you say? That's like wishing for snow in July. Sure, there might be some clucking on social media and a few sternly worded tweets to make everyone feel better, but let's not hold our breath for actual action. It's like trying to get a cat to take a bath. Lots of fuss, very little progress. Meanwhile, the military in Myanmar is probably sitting back, munching popcorn, and watching the world's reaction like it's their favorite Netflix series, Chaos in Southeast Asia. Spoiler alert, nobody's getting a happy ending.
In your opinion, what could be the potential long-term consequences of these military gains?
The long-term consequences. Let me pull out my crystal ball. If they keep this up, we might see Myanmar morph into the Wild West. You can expect a whole lot of unscripted drama, soap opera-level plot twists, and a dash of who's got the biggest guns. It could either spiral into a perpetual state of chaos, or eventually, a new order where everybody pretends to be happy while secretly plotting their exit strategy. It's like a never-ending game of poker where everyone's bluffing, and the stakes are the lives of innocent people. Who needs Netflix when you've got real-life horror stories unfolding?
How do you think this will impact the message of democracy and freedom in the region?
Oh, the message of democracy and freedom, you say? That's like sending a postcard from the Bermuda Triangle. Nobody's really getting it. The military's just out there with their take-no-prisoners approach, effectively throwing a party, while democracy checks its coat and leaves the building. The freedom is currently about as accessible as a VIP club with an overpriced cover charge. But hey, maybe they're just trying to redefine what democracy means. You know, democracy, where the military has an open bar and everyone else is stuck outside, wondering if they can sneak in.
So, it seems Antarctica has decided to up the ante this autumn by plunging to a frigid 60 degrees Celsius. What's going on down there?
Yes, because nothing says welcome autumn. Quite like a polar ice cap making a dramatic entrance at 60 degrees Celsius. You know, it's almost like Antarctica is trying to win an award for most dedicated to chilling out. I can just picture it. Mother Nature, sitting back, sipping her hot cocoa, while Antarctica throws a snowball at the thermostat and yells, "Let's make this a record-breaking winter." Who needs global warming when you have Antarctica capable of hosting an icicle party that can freeze your eyebrows off?
What do you think people are feeling about these record-breaking temps in Antarctica?
Oh, I bet they're feeling fabulous. Nothing like a little weather chaos to spice things up, right? I mean, it's not every day you get to say, "Honey, let's go to Antarctica for the holidays." That's a sure way to ruin anyone's beach vacation plans. You're going to feel the burn of a sunburn in the Sahara compared to the crisp, icy embrace of a polar breeze that could shatter dreams and screens alike. Just imagine the penguins out there, huddled together, gossiping about how your average winter coat just doesn't cut it anymore.
What are some potential implications of such extreme weather in Antarctica?
Well, aside from giving climate scientists a reason to pull their hair out, this kind of extreme weather is like a dramatic soap opera that no one asked for. You've got everything from rising sea levels to icebergs that think they're auditioning for Dancing with the Stars. Let's not forget how it sends shivers down the spine of anyone who has ever tried to navigate a waterway that suddenly turns into an ice rink. Who knew ice fishing would become the go-to extreme sport for the brave and foolish alike?
Are there any silver linings to this frostbite-inducing news?
Well, if you squint your eyes and clutch your steaming mug tightly, you might just see a silver lining. Or maybe that's just frost forming on your cup. On the bright side, maybe those travel influencers finally have a reason to swap the Bahamas for Antarctic adventures. I can see the tweets now. Just fought off hypothermia for the gram? Totally worth it. And let's not overlook the scientists who probably have a field day with this. They get to don their best "I survived Antarctica" t-shirts while everyone else is hiding under blankets. Nothing like turning extreme weather into a badge of honor, right?
Do you think this weather is here to stay or just a passing phase?
Ah, yes, the classic question. It's like asking if that one relative will ever stop telling embarrassing stories at family gatherings. With the climate, it's more about whether we can keep the popcorn handy for when the next episode airs. I mean, just when you think it's safe to return to the beach, bam, the weather grabs you by the collar and says, "Not so fast." So, hold on to your hot cocoa, folks. This climate drama is far from a one-star show. It's a full-blown series with plot twists and cliffhangers, more unpredictable than your uncle at Thanksgiving.
Any final thoughts on how we should react to this weather frenzy?
Well, if I've learned anything from watching nature's reality TV show, it's that we should probably invest in some heavy-duty thermal underwear and a good supply of hot chocolate. Embrace it, I say. Dive headfirst into those weather warnings like you're going into a pool of melted ice cream in July. Breathe it in and just hope for the best. After all, if life gives you 60 degrees Celsius, you might as well start a club. People who thought they could handle cold weather. Meetings held weekly, right next to the heaters.
So Kuwait has decided to halt crude oil exports for the first time since Gulf War III. What's going on there?
Ah, yes, Kuwait has thrown a wrench into the gears of the global oil machine, like a cat knocking over a glass of water. It's a bold move, really. You know, it's as if they woke up one day and thought, "Hey, let's give the world a little curveball and see how they deal without our liquid gold." I mean, why export oil when you can just sit on it? It's like having a treasure chest full of gold and deciding to store it in your attic. Perfectly logical, right? So now they're just playing it cool, refining their oil like someone making artisanal donuts. But everyone is just sitting there like, excuse me, where's the glaze?
What does this mean for the global oil market?
Oh, it's the equivalent of your friend suddenly deciding to host a dinner party but announcing that there will be no food, just drinks. The global oil market is now staring into the abyss, wondering if it should bring its own snacks or just pray for delivery. It's going to have a wild time trying to figure out how to fill that gaping hole left by Kuwait, which is kind of like trying to replace the star player on a soccer team with a cat. Sure, it might be cute, but it's definitely not scoring any goals. Expect prices to jump higher than my blood pressure when I see my bank statement.
Is Kuwait still producing oil despite the halt in exports?
Yes, indeed. It's like they've decided to keep the oil flowing, but put a "Do Not Disturb" sign on their export door. They're still cranking out that black gold like a barista on a caffeine high, but now it's all about storage and refining. They might even be thinking, why share our toys with the other kids when we can play with them ourselves? I mean, they could open an exclusive oil spa. Come in for a treatment and leave with a refined product. It's a fun twist on the usual trade routes, and at this rate, they might as well start charging admission.
How do you think other oil-producing countries will react to this?
Well, they'd probably be furiously dialing their stockbrokers while clutching their pearls, wondering if they need to issue a global oil code red. Picture it. A group of them huddled around a table, like a bunch of worried parents at a PTA meeting, trying to figure out how to keep their little oil economies afloat. Some might start whispering sweet nothings to their own reserves, while others will be looking for those desperate measures plans they drew up in case of an oil apocalypse. It's like competitive anxiety on steroids. Just add a dash of panic, and you've got yourself a recipe for some wild market fluctuations.
What could this mean for the price of oil?
Oh, you can bet your bottom dollar that prices will start doing flips and cartwheels. More dramatic than a soap opera season finale. It'll be like watching your favorite stock crash and burn, but in slow motion. It's heartbreaking. Expect the price of oil per barrel to shoot up faster than my friend trying to escape from a bad date. They might start selling it at prices that make you think you're buying liquid gold. At this point, you might as well start asking your neighbor for an oil loan. Hey buddy, can you spot me a barrel until payday? The market's going to be a wild ride.
Could this halt be related to any environmental considerations?
You bet your eco-conscious heart it could. Kuwait might be thinking, maybe we should consider saving the planet instead of just drilling it into the ground. It's like a light bulb moment, or perhaps they've suddenly decided that a little less carbon in the atmosphere is a good thing. Kind of like going on a diet after realizing you've been binge-eating donuts for too long. Hard, but necessary. So maybe they're embracing their inner tree huggers. Or it could just be a very clever ploy to seem trendy. Whatever the case, it definitely spices up the oil narrative.
So, interesting news from Gaza, where a couple held a unique wedding using a decorated construction lift. What's your take on that?
Nothing says happily ever after, quite like saying I do while cruising through a landscape that looks like it just survived an apocalyptic game of Jenga. I mean, forget the horse-drawn carriages or those fancy vintage cars. Why not roll up to the altar in a construction lift? It's like trading a bouquet for a hard hat, practical and romantic at the same time. Who needs flowers when you have cranes?
What do you think inspired them to choose such an unconventional method for their wedding?
Well, when your surroundings resemble a scene from Mad Max, I'd say traditional just went out the window faster than my last diet. Honestly, maybe they took a look at all that rubble and thought, hey, we could either wait for a venue to open up, or we could make our own way, literally. It's like they transformed a disaster into their own personal love story. Who needs a backdrop of roses when you have the beauty of construction equipment?
Do you think this could start a trend among couples in similar situations?
Oh, absolutely. Why go for the boring old white wedding when you can have a crane-themed extravaganza? I can already see it now. Couples across conflict zones ditching the chapel for the nearest construction site. Maybe we'll even see the rise of lift weddings worldwide. How romantic! Nothing says love like a significant other hoisting you up several feet off the ground while dodging debris. It'll be the new Pinterest phenomenon. Lift your spirits, lift your partner.
Is there a deeper message behind this couple's choice of venue amidst such destruction?
Definitely. It's like they're saying, love conquers all, even if all looks like a blown-up Lego set. While most people would be planning an escape route, they decided to throw caution to the wind and celebrate life right there in the chaos. It's a beautifully tragic reminder that even in the toughest times, love can still climb to new heights, just hopefully not literally off the edge of a construction lift.
What would you say is the most unusual aspect of this story?
The sheer audacity of it all, I think. I mean, who needs a fancy venue or gourmet catering when you can have a construction lift with a side of public debris? It's the ultimate statement piece. Picture it. Guests holding their little plastic cups of punch, trying not to trip over rubble while cheering them on. It's like if a wedding planner and a demolition crew had a love child. Talk about a unique marriage of chaos and ceremony.
So, I hear Iraq has shipped 0 barrels of oil in April. Can you break down what that means for the economy?
Well, if Iraq were a chef, April would have been the month he accidentally set the kitchen on fire while trying to make toast. No oil means no shipments, which is like a restaurant running out of its main dish. Everyone's sitting at the table, starving, and wondering why they bothered to make a reservation in the first place. Economically speaking, this is like a global wake-up call, or as I like to call it, the Great Oil Drought of 2023. Prices are probably doing their best impression of a roller coaster, while the rest of us are clutching our wallets and praying we don't fall off.
What are the potential global impacts of this oil export crisis?
Global impacts. It's like a game of dominoes, but instead of colorful pieces, we have economies crashing down one after another. If Iraq isn't spilling oil like a toddler with a juice box, that means global supply chains are about to throw a tantrum. Think high gas prices, inflation that's itching to become a household name, and businesses sweating bullets like they just ran a marathon in a sauna. Pretty soon, we might all be riding bicycles to work or investing in horse-drawn carriages. Because, why not prepare for the world's slowest commute?
How does this affect ordinary people like you and me?
Ordinary people? Oh honey, this is like being in a band where everyone plays off-key, but now we all have to listen to the same bad note repeatedly. Gas prices rise, which means our precious weekend road trips might turn into, let's just stare longingly at the driveway events. And if you think that's bad, wait till you see prices at the grocery store start resembling the national debt. So, brace yourself for the exciting adventure of budgeting your way through life. It's like a financial survival game where the stakes are your sanity.
Could there be any silver linings in this situation?
The eternal quest for silver linings. It's like finding a penny in the couch cushions but realizing it's also covered in crumbs. One might argue this could spark a shift towards renewable energy, because let's face it, no one wants to be the guy still trying to light fires with sticks while the rest of the world is texting flames. Or maybe we can all start investing in those fancy electric cars everyone talks about. Nothing like being dubbed the co-warrior while stuck in traffic, right? Just try not to plug in your car when the grid's having a meltdown.
What should governments do now that this crisis has hit?
Governments should probably get their act together, which is a tall order equivalent to asking a cat to do the cha-cha. They need to diversify their energy sources faster than I can change my Netflix subscription. The last thing we want is for them to sit around, twiddling their thumbs like they're waiting for the next season of their favorite show. Let's see some investments in alternatives, or at least have a backup plan that doesn't involve just crossing fingers and hoping for the best.
Is there any hope for Iraq's oil export situation to improve soon?
Hope? Well, if hope were a currency, we'd be richer than Midas. Iraq's oil export situation is like a Netflix series, full of twists and turns, and sometimes it just seems like they're dragging it out for seasons too long. There's always a chance that, with some political maneuvering and a little bit of luck, they could be back on track. But until then, we're all just waiting for the next episode of Will They Ship Oil Again? Spoiler alert. It's going to be a cliffhanger.
Washington hosts heartfelt Immortal Regiment March, honoring generations of war heroes in photos. Can you tell us what the event was like?
Oh, absolutely. Picture this. A river of people marching through Washington, wielding photos of their ancestors like modern-day Avengers wielding their Infinity Stones, except, instead of Thanos, it's just the crushing weight of history. It's that beautiful blend of nostalgia and, let's be honest, a bit of awkwardness as people try to explain to their kids who this old guy in a military uniform is. Spoiler alert, he's not a TikTok influencer. It's a touching tribute, but it's also that family reunion we all dread, where Uncle Bob brings out the old photo albums, and your kids are just trying to figure out if they inherited the family's bad taste in fashion.
What does the Immortal Regiment symbolize beyond just honoring veterans?
Ah, the symbolism. It's like an all-you-can-eat buffet of patriotism and history. The Immortal Regiment represents the idea that even though the veterans might be kicking back in the great beyond, their legacies are still alive, much like those questionable fashion choices that somehow never seem to die. Think of it as a long, dewy-eyed reminder that our grandparents might have been heroes, but we are still living with the consequences of their decisions, like why we can't find a decent pair of pants. It's about connecting generations. If you can carry a photo of your grandpa, it's a reminder that, much like your smartphone battery, memories don't last forever if you don't charge them with a little care.
How did this tradition of the march originate in Russia? And why is it spreading?
Oh, the origins. They say it started in Russia, like most great things, and a few questionable ones, including cold winters and hearty vodka. It began as descendants of veterans honoring their loved ones, and now, it's spread faster than a viral cat video. It's that classic tale of taking a good idea and running with it, like how we all decided that wearing Crocs to the grocery store was acceptable. People everywhere realize that honoring our predecessors is a universal language, even if it does come with a side of awkward family dynamics. Like that time at Thanksgiving when you tried to explain TikTok to grandma. The march is that catchy tune you can't get out of your head, and suddenly everyone wants to sing along.
Given the fewer veterans each year, is there a risk of the march losing its meaning?
Ah, the age-old fear of tradition fading away like the last spoonful of ice cream on a hot day. Sure, fewer veterans means fewer people to wave at while pretending to care about their war stories. But here's the kicker. The march isn't just for those who wore the uniform. It's for everyone who's ever felt the "I love you, but can you stop talking about the good old days?" syndrome. It's about remembrance. And as long as there's a grandchild with a photo of their grandpa looking heroic in sepia tones, that meaning isn't going anywhere. In fact, it takes on new life. Kind of like your grandma's favorite casserole that just won't die, much to the dismay of your taste buds.
What impact do you think these events have on younger generations?
Oh, they're like the unexpected plot twist in a great movie. You think it's just a march, and then bam! The younger generations get hit with a truckload of "wow, our family has a history." It's like finding out your quiet neighbor was once a secret agent. These events spark curiosities, and let's face it, kids today need more than just TikTok dances to know who they are. It encourages them to ask questions and maybe even learn how to listen to stories that don't involve Minecraft or Fortnite. It's a gateway to history, like a time machine made of cardboard boxes and mom's old photo albums, encouraging kids to dig deeper than their phone screens.
Is there anything in particular that stands out about this year's march compared to previous ones?
You bet! This year's march was so heartfelt, it could have made a grown man cry. Although let's be honest, most of us just sniffle into our sleeves like we're holding back a flood of emotions. It's like watching a slow-motion video of a puppy meeting its owner after a long trip. The atmosphere was thicker than a Thanksgiving meal, with people connecting in ways we usually only see in sappy movies. Plus, with the years rolling by faster than our New Year's resolutions, every march becomes a little more poignant, like seeing an unexpected email from your old high school crush. Each photo carried past the crowd tells a different story, making this year's event feel like the emotional season finale of a TV show you've been binge-watching for years. Spoiler alert, love and tears are guaranteed.
So, Google and Apple are censoring images of key Kuwaiti airbases amid the Iran conflict. Can you give us the scoop on that?
Ah, yes. The tech titans have decided that satellite imagery of airbases is too spicy for our delicate sensibilities. I mean, who doesn't want to avoid the awkward moment of zooming into a military base and inadvertently starting an international incident? It's like ordering a salad but being served a steak. We just can't handle that level of intensity. And let's be honest, nothing says, "I trust my tech," quite like a blurry image of a military installation. Maybe they're just looking out for our mental health, saving us from the trauma of realizing that Google Earth is just a glorified version of playing peekaboo with the Pentagon.
What does it mean for the tech companies to be censoring these images specifically in Kuwait?
Censoring these images is like putting a "do not enter" sign on a candy shop when you're trying to keep kids away from sugar. It sends the message that there's something really juicy behind those blurred pixels. It's a little late for a game of guess what's hiding under this digital fog, considering airbases are kind of supposed to be visible. But hey, at least we can rest easy knowing that Uncle Sam isn't losing his marbles or his airbases in the process. It's like turning the lights off during a power outage. Sure, we might not see the chaos, but we're still trying to navigate our way through it while bumping into furniture.
How is it that other bases, like Camp Buering, remain untouched by this censorship?
Ah, Camp Buering, the base that's apparently too cool for school. It's like that friend who can get away with breaking all the rules, while the rest of us are stuck in the no-fun corner. Maybe there's an invisible barrier around Camp Buering that screams, "I'm too hip for censorship." Or perhaps they just haven't gotten around to the blur the base memo. It's like finding out you're the only one in the group chat not invited to the party. You're standing outside wondering if there's a secret handshake you weren't told about. But hey, let's hope the folks at Camp Buering are still enjoying their top-notch views for now.
Why do you think this censorship is only impacting certain U.S. satellite providers?
Well, it's like an exclusive VIP club for satellite imagery. Only the in-crowd of companies get to join the censorship party, while others are left outside, noses pressed against the glass, wondering what the fuss is all about. Maybe Google and Apple are just trying to keep their customers safe from an overload of military excitement. I mean, who wants to see the dramatic saga of Operation Zoom and Blur unfold right on their screens? It's much easier to just let people feast on cute cat videos instead of actual warfare. After all, nothing says American innovation quite like glossing over reality with a shiny blur.
What could be the potential implications of this kind of censorship?
Oh, this could open up a whole new can of worms, or should I say a can of blurred images. Censorship often leads to speculation like a cat chasing a laser pointer, darting around without any real direction. On one hand, it could protect sensitive information and keep our international friend fighting to a minimum. On the other hand, it might just create a bunch of conspiracy theories about what's really going on behind those fuzzy pixels. Like an episode of a reality TV show where no one can figure out who's the villain and who's just trying to sell lemonade on a street corner. So, grab your popcorn and get ready for a wild ride, 'cause with this level of secrecy, we might just see the birth of the next big Netflix drama.
Do you think the public should be worried about this trend of censorship in tech?
Oh, absolutely. It's like that feeling you get when a friend suddenly starts deleting all their social media posts You can't help but wonder what kind of skeletons are hiding in the closet. While censorship might be wrapped up in a shiny bow of national security, it also raises questions about transparency. What else are they hiding? Do they think we're too fragile to handle the truth? It's like being told there's broccoli in your favorite dish. Nobody wants to know. So, while we should all enjoy the safety of our digital bubble, let's just hope it doesn't turn into a bubble bath with too many hidden agendas floating around. Because nobody wants to slip on the truth when it pops.
So, Spirit Airlines has shut down its operations nationwide, leaving a lot of passengers stranded. What's the real story here?
Ah, yes, Spirit Airlines has decided to pull a Houdini and vanish into thin air, leaving its passengers stranded like socks in a dryer. Apparently, they thought that a $500 million federal bailout was the magic ticket to survival. But turns out, that ticket was just a coupon for a one-way trip to bankruptcy. They claim rising fuel costs did them in, because who knew that flying was as expensive as trying to buy a mansion in Silicon Valley? So here we are, with passengers wandering around airports, looking for their spirit. Spoiler alert, it's not coming back.
What do you think this says about the airline industry as a whole?
Well, if the airline industry was a game of musical chairs, right now it looks like Spirit Airlines just knocked over the whole stack and stormed out. It's a bit like watching a soap opera where every episode ends with a cliffhanger. Will the airlines survive? Will they merge? Will they go bankrupt? Either way, passengers are the ones sitting on the sidelines, clutching their boarding passes like it's a lottery ticket. So it's safe to say that not all flights are created equal, especially when they're just a figment of our frugal imaginations.
How are passengers reacting to this sudden shutdown?
Oh, you can imagine the scene at airports. It's like a reality show where everyone forgot their lines, and the camera crew went on break. You've got travelers pacing back and forth, clutching their bags as if they're about to go on a quest to find the Holy Grail. Some are probably trying to barter with the airport staff, offering their last pack of gum for a flight out. Social media? It's exploding with memes and heartfelt complaints that could rival Shakespearean tragedies. I mean, who knew that being stranded at an airport could get you more likes than a cute cat video? Talking about a real-life drama.
What do you think is the future for low-cost airlines like Spirit?
The future for low-cost airlines like Spirit is looking a little grim, like a bad haircut right before a family reunion. With their reputation taking more hits than a piñata at a birthday party, they might need to rethink their business model. Maybe they could pivot and start a new trend, like silent flights, where passengers are not only on time, but also blissfully unaware of any cancellations. Or perhaps they could adopt a new slogan, "Fly with us, or don't, we really don't care." In the world of budget flights, survival of the fittest is about to get a whole new meaning.
Do you think we will see more airline closures in the coming months?
If I had a crystal ball, I'd probably say yes, but instead I have the uncanny ability to predict trends based on the price of a cup of coffee. As energy costs soar and consumer patience dwindles, it's like watching a game of musical chairs, and right now the music is getting ready to stop. So yes, it's quite possible we'll see a few more airlines trying to squeeze their way through this turbulent sky. It's like a dramatic exit from a party where someone just yells, "I'm out!" while leaving a trail of broken dreams and lost luggage behind.
What advice do you have for travelers in light of this situation?
Advice? Well, if I didn't know any better, I'd say it's time for travelers to reframe their expectations. First, make friends with flexibility. It could be the best travel buddy you've ever had. Cancelled flights? Don't worry, just consider it an impromptu vacation at the airport. You can always check out that overpriced pretzel stand you've never noticed. And always, always, keep an emergency snack or two in your bag. Because nothing says prepared traveler like munching on stale granola while the world around you crumbles. Basically, buckle up, it's going to be a bumpy ride.
So, the White House is considering military options against Cuba but is leaning towards diplomacy. What's going on here?
Ah, the classic diplomatic tango. It's like watching two clumsy dancers attempting to trip over each other without stepping on toes. The White House thinks about military options like I think about running a marathon. Intimidating yet refreshing to consider, but really, I'd rather lounge on the couch with a tub of ice cream. They're trying to put pressure on Cuba, but apparently, that pressure is just a gentle nudge rather than a full-on shove into a wrestling ring. So, here we are, blending diplomacy with a dash of military bravado, because nothing says, let's have a civilized chat, like the thought of sending in the troops.
What does this shift to diplomacy really mean for US-Cuba relations?
Well, it's like trying to fix a leaky faucet by throwing a bucket underneath it. You might catch some of the drips, but good luck with the actual problem. The US government wants to charm Cuba into submission, sort of like trying to win over a stubborn cat with treats. But let's face it, Cuba's been around for decades, and they're not exactly going to roll over just because Uncle Sam offers them a slice of pumpkin pie. It's a complicated relationship, kind of like that on-again, off-again fling that never truly ends. Lots of tension, and everyone's not sure if they can handle it without overreacting.
What might it take for the US to actually shift from diplomacy to military action?
Oh, just a little something like a roast pig in the middle of a backyard barbecue gone horribly wrong. Military action is like the last place option in a game of Twister. Everyone is kind of hoping to avoid it. The US wouldn't dive into military action unless Cuba starts throwing grenades like confetti at a birthday party. Until then, they'll keep hoping that a few diplomatic niceties and economic sanctions will turn the tide. Although I suspect that Cuba is just watching from afar, sipping on a mojito and not particularly impressed.
Is there a precedent for this kind of situation? How has it worked out before?
Oh, absolutely. Historically, it's tried to bake a cake with no recipe. Some people end up with a delicious masterpiece, and others, well, they get cake batter exploding in their faces. Just look at previous US interventions. Sometimes they lead to transformations and other times they spiral into disaster quicker than my New Year's resolutions. It's like asking a toddler to paint a masterpiece. You might get a Van Gogh or a splatter of chaos, and I suspect the US is hoping for the former while bracing for the reality of the latter.
What are the risks of pursuing military options, even with a focus on diplomacy?
Oh, just the usual risks, like trying to jump into a pool full of sharks while wearing a meat suit. The US might think they're just flexing their muscles with a few military options on the table. But in reality, it risks escalating tensions that could lead to a full-blown geopolitical game of chicken. Nobody wants to be the person who accidentally sends the world spiraling into chaos because they mistook a diplomatic brief for a war cry. There's always the chance someone misinterprets a naval exercise as, "Hey, we're coming to get you," and poof, just like that, we've got ourselves an international incident, probably with popcorn involved.
What should the public be paying attention to in this developing story?
Oh, just the usual drama and intrigue, like a soap opera but with less crying and more complicated terminology. The public should keep their eyes peeled for the breaking news alerts, like it's the last slice of pizza at a party. Watch for how the situation evolves. If Cuba starts to retaliate, you can bet it will be the kind of reality show that puts The Bachelor to shame. And don't forget to check out the experts weighing in, because there's nothing more entertaining than watching political analysts try to make sense of it all while keeping a straight face. Grab your popcorn, folks. This is going to be a wild ride.
So, Hungary's new Prime Minister Péter Magyar is under fire for appointing his brother-in-law as Justice Minister. What do you make of this nepotism controversy?
Ah, yes, nepotism. The age-old tradition of handing out jobs like candy at a birthday party. It's almost as if Péter Magyar believes that meritocracy is just a fancy word for who you know. I mean, why hire someone with actual legal expertise when you can just pick your relative? It's like saying, forget the job market, I'd rather keep it all in the family. And let's not even get started on his defense about expertise and commitment. Sure, it's hard to argue against familial bonds when you're sipping coffee at the family reunion, but I wonder if this expert would get the job if his last name was Smith instead of Meletai Barna.
How do you think this will affect Magyar's campaign promise to clean up public life?
Oh, it's going to have all the subtlety of a bull in a china shop, let me tell you. He's trying to play the superhero with a cape, but here he is, dragging a sidekick who just happens to have the same last name as his wife into the mix. It's simply tragicomic. You see, when you're out there promising transparency and accountability, appointing your brother-in-law is like trying to sell ice in Antarctica. People might just look at you and say, "Really? This is what you meant by cleaning up?" It's like filling a swimming pool with spaghetti and calling it a food fight.
What's your take on Magyar's decision to suspend his sister-in-law's judicial duties to sidestep conflicts of interest?
Oh, that's a classic. It's like putting a band-aid on a bullet wound and hoping no one notices. So his sister-in-law is temporarily stepping away, but let's be real, how does that solve anything? It's like saying, "I'm not a thief, I just borrowed the money," indefinitely. It's almost as if he thinks that by putting a sign that says, "Nothing to see here," will truly convince everyone. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. It's like trying to hide the smell of a 3-day-old fish with just a spritz of air freshener.
Do you think the backlash will have a long-term impact on his government?
Long-term impact? Oh, absolutely. Like a stubborn stain on a shirt that refuses to wash out. People don't forget when they smell nepotism, and the stink can linger longer than a bad cologne. This isn't just a hiccup. It's more like being caught in a tornado while holding a dandelion. And let's face it, every time he tries to talk about reforms, someone is bound to shout, "What about your brother-in-law?" It's a classic case of, keep your enemies closer but your relatives closer. And who wants to be remembered for that?
What do you think made Magyar think it was a good idea to appoint his brother-in-law?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It's like deciding to paint your house bright pink and expecting neighbors to compliment your unique taste. Maybe he thought, what's the worst that could happen? I mean, family gatherings are all about discussing the weather, right? It takes a special kind of confidence, or perhaps a complete lack of self-awareness, to believe this would work out in his favor. It's as if he rolled the dice on a game of political monopoly and landed on go directly to jail, but just decided to keep playing anyway.
Finally, what would you advise Magyar to do next?
Well, if I were in his shoes, I would consider a strategic retreat, like a general who realizes he's accidentally invaded the wrong country. Time to hit the refresh button, maybe apologize, throw in a few genuine appointments that make people go, "Whoa, he's serious about this." Then, just to be safe, perhaps send the family on a nice long vacation to somewhere far away like Mars. The last thing he needs is to live under the constant shadow of familial appointments for his entire term. Because nothing says trust like a government powered by family ties.
So, Texas residents are suing Elon Musk's SpaceX over the Starship launches damaging their homes. What's the scoop on that?
Ah, yes, because nothing says welcome to your suburban dream quite like the occasional sonic boom rattling your windows. I mean, who wouldn't want to enjoy a Starship launch as part of their morning coffee routine? Honey, did you hear that? Oh, it's just Elon sending another rocket to Mars. No biggie. But apparently, the residents thought differently. They're claiming SpaceX knew about the risks but launched anyway. Kind of like a toddler running through a house full of breakables. Oops, my bad. Sounds a lot different when your living room becomes a launch pad.
What kind of damages are the residents claiming?
Well, the residents aren't just looking for some sympathy. They're all about that dollar sign. They want compensation for noise, vibrations, and of course, their quality of life. I mean, who wouldn't mind a bit of space debris enriching their backyard, right? Their homes have turned into vibrating massage parlors. And not the fun kind. Can you imagine calling the insurance company? Yeah. My house is shaking like a maraca at a salsa party, and I'm not sure if I should be worried or just ride the wave.
Is Elon Musk known for ignoring risks when launching projects like this?
Oh, absolutely. He's practically the poster child for leap before you look. It's like he's playing a giant game of Gen with rockets and human safety. I mean, sure, launching a rocket is thrilling and all, but not everyone wants their house to double as a launch site. The man has more projects than I have socks. One minute you're building electric cars, the next you're launching a rocket, and before you know it, your neighbors are filing lawsuits. Could we get a little less Iron Man and a bit more responsible adult, please?
What are the locals saying about the situation?
Well, you can imagine the locals are not thrilled. It's like finding out that your quiet neighborhood has turned into the set of an action movie, minus the cool stunts and with all the annoying explosions. They're expressing their concerns through legal channels, which is their way of saying, thanks for the memsies, Elon, but we prefer to keep our ceilings intact. You can almost hear them saying, look, we love Texas and everything, but could we keep the starships in the sky and out of our backyard barbecues, please?
How does this case reflect on SpaceX's treatment of communities?
Oh, it's like having a giant, eccentric uncle who shows up to family gatherings with a fireworks show. Everyone's entertained until someone loses an eyebrow. SpaceX is in that awkward phase where they're trying to be the cool kids on the block, while also rubbing some residents the wrong way. It's like building a castle with moats, but forgetting the no cannon fire rule. They may need to sit down with the locals and discuss some ground rules. Like, maybe no rocket launches on Taco Tuesdays? Just a thought.
What do you think is going to happen next?
Well, if history teaches us anything, this will probably lead to a settlement that's as messy as a toddler's art project. SpaceX might throw a few bucks at the residents to calm the noise, literally and metaphorically. Or, they could do what every tech giant does, throw up some PR spin and hope everyone forgets by next month. The real kicker? If we see more launches, let's all just pray that the next rocket doesn't take a detour and land in the local grocery store's parking lot. That would be quite the buy one, get one free offer.
So, what's the latest scoop on Mali and those radical militants?
The latest scoop is like a bad reality show, where the characters just can't seem to catch a break. It turns out that the radicals, after some dramatic fanfare about their May offensive, are now facing a reality check that's harder than finding Wi-Fi in the Sahara. Mali's forces are launching counterattacks like they're throwing a surprise party for militants, minus the cake and with way more grenades. The only thing the radicals managed to escort was a bunch of government forces making a tactical getaway, which feels less like a grand victory and more like winning a gold star for showing up.
What about the fighting along the Niger River? Any updates there?
Oh, the Niger River Valley is like a game of hide and seek, but with much higher stakes and fewer snacks. Mali's armed forces and their African Corps buddies are patrolling like they've got nothing but time on their hands, ambushing the militants with the finesse of a cat, pouncing on a laser pointer dot. And the militants? They tried to take Gormararis again, but it went about as well as a cat trying to swim, a lot of flailing, and an eventual retreat. I mean, they left their weapons behind, which is either a strategic blunder or just a really bad yard sale.
And the airstrikes? Are they ramping up?
Oh, you bet they are. The airstrikes have increased so much lately, it's like the Mali's armed forces decided to throw a bombs-away party. They've been taking out field camps and supply bases around Bamako, with the precision of a toddler aiming a water gun. It's so effective that if the radicals were a bakery, they'd be in the business of crumbling pastries rather than capturing territory. Let's just say their plans to destabilize the capital have been about as successful as trying to teach a goldfish to ride a bike, thrilling to watch, but ultimately a flop.
What's the overall situation for the militants now?
The overall situation for the militants could be summarized as wishful thinking meets harsh reality. Their so-called global offensive has basically been put on ice, like a bad Netflix series that gets cancelled after one season. They've not lost mass territory, which is nice of them to share, but they're definitely not winning any popularity contests. It must be frustrating to have plans so grand that they end up looking like a toddler's finger painting. Chaotic and all over the place, but somehow still sticking around.
And how about the cooperation with Russian servicemen?
Ah, the Russians are there, mingling around like they're at a cocktail party, strategically maneuvering and looking sharp. They've been working with Mali's general staff, making sure their forces are less likely to get encircled than a cat in a room full of vacuum cleaners. It's all about concentration and counterattacks, which sounds a lot more like a high-stakes chess game than an actual battlefield, minus the checkmate, and with more smoke and explosions. I guess you could say the Russians are handling things with the kind of finesse that makes you reconsider your own organizational skills.
So, what can we expect next in this ongoing saga?
What can we expect? Well, if this were a soap opera, I'd say expect more plot twists than you can shake a stick at. The militants will probably regroup and try again, because persistence is key, right? Meanwhile, Mali's forces will continue countering, like they're in a video game and it's the final boss level. One can only hope they have enough lives left to keep playing. Ultimately, this ongoing saga will likely unfold like a soap opera with dramatic reveals, shocking betrayals, and perhaps even a surprise guest appearance from a stray cat or two. Let's grab the popcorn and see who's still standing after the next round.